Catherine. Okay, Sean Carafa. Chair Walker.
David Walker. I'm here.
Burris McCree. Gordon Robinson.
Here.
Ricardo Barrera.
Here.
Kenton Mullins. And Danny Graves.
Here.
Quorum established.
Very good. Okay, well, we'll call it to order. I guess do we do an opportunity for public comment that's not associated with our case at hand?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have not received any public comments that are at all, whether regarded to the specific case or in general.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
We'll move on to approval of the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve. Let's entertain a motion to approve the minutes of February 24th. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Very good. Any discussion? I don't hear any discussion. So I guess we'll call the question.
As a quick point of order, would you please state your name when you state your motion, just so we have it clear for the minutes?
Okay, who made the motion?
I made the first motion.
And who is that?
Oh, Gordon.
Okay. And who seconded?
Ricardo Barrera, second the motion.
Very good. Very good.
I made the motion.
All right. All those in
I'm
favor?
sorry, and I missed it. I apologize. Who made the motion, please?
Who made the motion?
Gordon Robinson. I made the first motion.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And again, sorry, for a point of information, I have a call-in user number 2. Could you please identify yourself?
Alan the Blue and Kevin Busenleiner.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure we had everyone accounted for. Thank you.
Sean is here as well, and literally just got off a flight from Disney World, and so I'm here on audio. I am having trouble getting the WebEx loaded to visual, so I'm here audio, process of trying to get the WebEx loaded for visual.
Thank you, sir. Well, we're trying not to take you up too much time from your vacation.
Very good. Are we ready to vote on the motion?
Yes, we have the motion and the second is on the floor for the approval of the minutes.
All right. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Burris McCree, aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Passes. All right. Now we're going to approve absences. Chairman Carica couldn't be at the last meeting, and we want to. How do we do that? Do we have a motion to do that, or do we?
I make a motion. This is Burris McCree. I make a motion to approve the absences.
Okay, I'll second it. And so, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We approved his absence. Okay. Now we have the appeals. Andrew, you want to go through that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today we have one case before you. It is, and I'll go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint. Let's just minimize this information over. So today's appeal is a request. It's AK LLC. This is in regards to a car wash. They requested the variance to eliminate the 7-foot wall requirement as part of the zoning district buffer yard. So I'll go through the PowerPoint to kind of break down what exactly that means. So as you can see on this aerial overview, the subject property is located at the corner, that is the northwest corner of the intersection of Everhart Road and Grand Junction Drive, where Grand Junction turns into Snow Goose Road. This is just south of Saratoga. And as you can see, there is some commercial developments to the south. That is a service station. You have a townhouse development adjacent to the west, and then you have some single-family homes also to the southwest. Across Everhart is where you have an apartment complex currently called Valhalla Apartments, and as well to the north, across a drainage channel, there are additional apartments, used to be called Sandcastle back in the day. Okay, so moving on. As far as existing land use, as you can see, it's surrounded on 3 sides by multifamily development. Just keep in mind that to the rear, those are in specifically single-family townhouses. So while our land use map does color them as multifamily, they are in fact permitted as single-family. And then to the south, of course, and southwest, you will see a single-family traditional subdivision, and then the commercial development that's to the south, which is the Stripes convenience store and fueling station. So moving on. Now here's the site plan. To the south is Everhart Road. To the left is Grand Junction Drive. The question on this whole case is regarding the installation of a 7-foot buffer yard along the red line that you'll see at the top of the screen. That would be the separation between the properties of where the proposed car wash is to go. As you can see, the center of the screen orients the car wash facing Everhart Road. The entrance would be on the back side as it shares that property area with the single-family townhouse development. Now, these are photos submitted by the applicant regarding their other permitted car wash. That is, and I believe one additional car wash that they surveyed on the south side that is adjacent to an apartment complex. As far as the Unified Development Code is concerned, this is the actual code section that pertains to how this came about. As you can see, the zoning district is CN1 for this particular site, and it is adjacent to RS6 with a special permit. So the RS6 is the base zoning district. Therefore, a type B buffer yard is required, which means there is a 10-foot buffer requirement with at least 10 points. Now, specific to what causes or what generates the need for the wall is that a minimum 7-foot wall should be required when one of the following noise generators is adjacent to a single-family district. This being the base zoning, again, RS6, so this would qualify. Dumpsters and trash compactors, a loading zone, a service alley, a restaurant drive-through, or mechanical equipment. Of this, as we'll go back to the site plan, you have a service alley, which is the queuing of the vehicles as they're going into the car wash. You have the location of a dumpster. And as we have learned, there are, even though we do know that the blowers for this car wash are going to face Everhart, you do have that also side noise generator. But in fact, you do have a service alley and a dumpster, 2 qualifiers for what would check off those boxes for requiring the 7-foot wall. So as part of putting this presentation together, I wanted to show some other wall examples. This is a car wash at the corner of Carroll Lane and Staples, which it is hard to see. I tried to zoom in as best as I could, but there is a solid masonry wall along this back side when this car wash was constructed, as on the other side of the wall is a very narrow alley and a row of single-family homes that front part of a parkway. Then this is another wall example that was part of the new Taqueria Acapulco built at the corner of Galahar and Weber, which also required the installation of a wall because of a drive-through queuing, or and also a service alley, as this is the new delivery lane in which the restaurant receives their goods. They also have a dumpster along the back wall. So they too qualified under multiple boxes that were being checked as far as the requirement for that 7-foot noise generation wall. This is another example. This was probably one of the first walls actually built in Corpus for this specific reason, is the old Taylor Brothers Center that's on South Alameda. that also required a wall because of a service alley and delivery way on the backside of the building. So as you can see, we've been applying this consistently throughout the city over various projects over a number of years. This is not a new requirement. As far as public notification is concerned, of the 7 notices we mailed out, we received 0 in favor and 0 in opposition. Now, based on the information that was submitted and after discussion and analysis, we as staff are recommending denial. And of course, as you know, the UDC states that you have to meet the 5 qualifiers as far as required findings when it comes to justifying potentially approving a variance. On those grounds, the first one, the subject property is not extraordinary as there's no physical condition that prevents the construction of the wall. 2, the granting of the variance may cause a detriment to surrounding properties as it would limit the amount of noise protection against single-family residences. Both the dumpster and the queuing area are noise generators as you're waiting to enter the car wash, aside from the car wash itself. Number 3, there is no defined need for the requested variance. Multiple uses, as you've seen in the previous photos, have installed walls based on the requirements of the zoning district buffer yard. Number 4, the request is a result of a self-created hardship as the applicant did choose to construct here at this specific site. And number 5, as far as contradiction or any type of incongruence with Plan CC or the UDC, Plan CC does specifically state that we should encourage commercial development that is in a manner that minimizes the impacts of automobile intrusion, noise, or visual blight. The wall will do just that. You're talking about blocking headlights that are waiting in queue. You're talking about blocking noise from vehicles remaining in queue, as well as the noise from the servicing of the dumpsters. Based on that, that is why we as staff are recommending denial. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
So can we jump in and say something here?
Go ahead.
Well, in 1 minute, sir. So first, we take questions from board members, and then the chair, Mr. Walker, will open it for public discussion or public comment. So just 1 moment. We're almost there.
Yeah. What's the status right now? Has the facility been built, or is it just in the planning stages?
It's in the process of being built.
Okay.
So you've already broken ground on the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Were there any additional questions for staff?
Any questions for staff? I think you covered it pretty well.
Yep. I'm good.
I'll open it.
Perfect. If Mr. Walker, if you would like to open up the case for public hearing, would be the next step.
Okay. Well, now it's your turn to open it to the public. Go ahead.
Okay. We want to change that from a variance to a non-variance. I didn't understand what variance meant. From what I understand now, we don't want to go that direction. We believe that the city misinterpreted the UDC in regards to the wall. Section 7.9.8 has a reference of the dumpster and so forth.
Which we can move.
And we can move. We already stated that before, that the dumpster can be moved anywhere on the property. That's number 1. Number 2, loading zone under that section. We don't have a loading zone, so that doesn't pertain to us. We don't have a service alley. We're not servicing cars. We just strictly have cars pulling into the car wash, which makes absolutely no noise. When a car is rolling in there, there's no horns blowing, there's no racing of engines or anything. It's very quiet. There's absolutely no noise, so that doesn't pertain to us. It's not a restaurant drive-through, so that doesn't pertain to us.
There's no intercom, no speaker, nobody talking. Plus, we also close it. We open at 8 and close at 7.
And in the summertime, when it's dark at 8:30, we close at 8 o'clock, so it's not even dark yet. So the headlights is not an issue. And plus, there's an existing fence there already. That has not been stated, and you can't see it in that picture, that satellite picture. There is a existing wooden fence on the property line of the neighbor there at the residence. So, this would be if we had to put up a wall, it'd be a fence and a wall there, which we just don't see the purpose of that. Plus the distance there, if you look at that map that's up there right now, the dumpster is 55 feet away from the property line,
Which can be moved.
And the noise generator that does make noise is 244 feet away from our property line where the residential area is. So the blowers are not an issue because that sound will go out onto the street. So
Actually, the stripe dumpster is probably closer to, and it's literally in the other neighbor's backyard.
can you show some of those other pictures I sent, or can you pull it up, Ellen?
Not with this. If you look at stripes,
Yeah, you go back, yeah, you passed it up right there. Okay, stripes. Okay.
it's not stripes.
The two pictures, there's three pictures across the top. The top two left are our existing car wash there at Cimarron and Yorktown. If you'll notice, that is not a concrete wall. City only required a wooden fence. And the bottom left is also our property at Cimarron and Yorktown. You can see the wooden fence. So, there's just no need in a concrete wall.
And then that's Riptide Car Wash on Staples, which
The top
that
left.
fence is basically in the backyard. We're gonna be 50 or 90 feet away from that. And then if you look at the stripes across Grand Junction, their dumpster is almost in their neighbor's backyard, which I think that's gonna generate more noise than,
Andrew, do you have the stripes picture there that shows the dumpster connected to the fence?
and we can move the dumpster again. And like I said, our hours are 8 to 7.
And if you notice this bottom right picture that you have up, that's just a wooden fence there. That's a car wash there
Which was just built.
that was just built. And that's a wooden fence there. So and look how close those houses are to that wooden fence. Why didn't they have to put up a concrete wall?
And the picture in the top left was that car wash was just built too. And there's no fence there.
Andrew, do you have the stripes across the street?
No, sir. I'm just waiting for you to finish your comment.
Okay.
Well, basically what we're trying to say is the stripes across the street, the dumpster is literally 10 feet from the neighbor's backyard.
And it's connected to the fence.
So their dumpster is probably going to be closer to the neighbors behind us than ours is.
And we're 47 or 55 feet away from the property line, which the houses are even further than that. Okay.
So the hours, 8 to 7, 8 to 8 in the summer. So it's not like we're open 24 hours a day making noise, and all our noisemakers are closer to Everhart. So I just don't see what a 7-foot cinder block wall is going to do besides cost us a ton of money.
Sir, this is Chairman Karaja. So this is a self-serve drive-through car wash, correct?
Yes, sir. It's what they call a tunnel wash, an express wash.
Express tunnel wash. Customer stays in the car.
So no employees with mechanism to enforce closure is simply what is the enforcement of those hours?
They close the doors. It's not open.
We do have employees there. There's a register. They take the money. If it's a cash customer, they take the money at a drive-up window like McDonald's, and then the customer drives on through. If it's a member, which we have over 2,400 members, that they just drive up. They don't even roll the window down. They drive up. A camera reads the rear license plate. The gate pops open, and they drive on through. So there's no interaction from an employee whatsoever.
But after hours, the door on the tunnel is closed.
Yeah, it's locked up at night.
Everything's shut off. All the power to the equipment is shut off. So
Lights are off.
there's no car washing being done. You can't run these car washes without employees there for business hours.
Just to save y'all some user or some problems, will you have barricades or something to keep people from even trying to get through there?
Right. What we put up is traffic cones that don't even let them on the property.
Okay.
Yes, it's blocked off every night.
Now, let me ask the city, these places that are shown with wooden fences rather than concrete fences, have they received variances to allow them to be different from what the code calls for?
That's a
They
good
were
question,
built-
sir.
Both built in the last 2 years.
He's asking a question.
Thanks. If I could answer the question, appreciate it. So thank you for your question, Mr. Graves. The building, as mentioned, the previous car wash that's on Cimarron, it was based on the interpretation of a former director that it met the requirements of a buffer yard, which is incorrect. It should have had a concrete wall built. In fact, it's been pretty much a constant phone call issue that we've had to deal with neighbors complaining about the amount of noise coming out to the point that even the city council member has become involved. The property to the south on the lower right-hand side, that property is adjacent to an apartment complex, which, as I showed in the letter of the code, it's only if you're adjacent to a single or two-family district would a wall be required. In this case, that property is not adjacent to single-family; those are apartments.
In the top left.
Stripes. Thank you, sir. If I could finish. So regarding the side to the left, if Stripes has their dumpster too close, I'd be more than happy to have our compliance officer go out there and tell them that they need to move it or they need to construct a wall, one or the other.
Can I say something? The picture on the left, that car wash was built, top left, was built within the last year and a half. And that's all houses, single resident houses, right behind it. And that's Riptide Car Wash on Staples. And they don't have a wall, they don't have anything. And there's a bunch of houses behind it, 35, 40 feet away.
This is Chairman Carge again. Our car wash that is 2 lots south of the Stripes, next to the recently constructed, I guess it's a Reliant emergency room. What do they have there? That's a similar type business, I believe. Do we know what they have there at that car wash? Again, a couple blocks south of the Stripes there.
On which road are you talking?
On Everhart, so it's basically so you have the Stripes, you have their new recently constructed 24-hour DR, and then there's that car wash that's been there for a decade
So,
at least.
That's what they call a self-serve, but they do have 2 in-bay automatics, which will run
24 hours
a day with dryers.
Okay, so that is, but we don't know what kind of barrier they have, Andrew, do we?
They don't have any, it's just a wooden fence.
The question that would remain is that this case has to be judged on its own merit as any other variance request. And that's one other thing I wanted to bring up is that a couple weeks ago, I specifically asked in an email whether this was a variance or this was an appeal of administrative decision. And I received a confirmation email saying this was indeed a variance.
Well, that's what we're just misunderstood, misinterpreted the word whenever you ask that. And that's what Kevin stated right before we even started this.
Yeah, we're not familiar with the city terms, so I didn't understand the question.
Let me interject for just a moment.
Back and forth emails and can explain what exactly the difference is between the two.
Do we want
We made a mistake.
do we want to table this at this point in time? To have it, revised in some manner? Or do we, if we're to vote on, decide on what we see before us, the evidence that we have in front of us, that's, you say you can move the dumpster, but we don't see where, and there's other issues, I guess.
We have almost 2 acres there. All this is ours all the way out here. We can put the dumpster wherever you want it.
Yeah, we can move it anywhere. But if you look at that, there's no noise generators there. There's like the dumpster area there, that's 55 feet away.
Okay.
And the front of the building, where the building starts, if you look there, it says it's 97 feet circled. And that, the beginning of the building is 97 feet away
Almost
from,
100 feet away.
almost 100 feet away from the property line.
Well, there's nothing in the ordinance that talks about distance from the buffer yard. I'm sorry, but that doesn't,
Yeah, in the UDC, it says we're 47 feet away. And so we get a total buffer yard points of 40 and plus 5 points for the existing fence that's already there.
Mr. Chair, just a point of order. The point of public comment is not to have a back and forth between the board members and the applicant. They're entitled to make their statement. And then it really does need to stop there. And if any further questions of the board has for the applicant, that's fine. But this back and forth is not appropriate decorum.
Well, he just asked a question.
thank you, Andrew.
So, I have a question. Is this really a variance or what are we doing here?
We just don't agree with the UDC. We put variance, but that was our mistake.
So what the board needs to vote on today, or if they wish to have further discussion, is whether or not to approve, deny, or table the variance request as that what is submitted.
Well, we don't have a variance.
I would ask the applicant if this is what you want to be decided today.
I mean, that's up to you guys. I mean, we just don't agree with the UDC. And with that, especially with that new property on Staples, that car wash literally has houses right behind it that are 40 feet away, built in the last year and a half. They don't have any kind of fence.
Well, again, gentlemen.
We can move the dumpster. We're 100 feet away from our entrance. Our hours are 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the summer. So it's not like we're open all night. There's not gonna be cars going through there. The dumpsters
Gentlemen.
dump twice a week.
Pause it. The open back and forth, we are not following our proper protocol. So the applicant has had their chance to make their public comments. Board, now it's time. It's for us to discuss. Whether a motion, any discussion amongst ourselves. Personally, as I look at this, so I look at, regardless of the opening hours, I look at cars in the queue. I look at summer months. I look at teenagers with their loud music and the sound, the trucks with their loud exhaust systems. So I would disagree with the comment that there is.
And what about cars on the road right there?
Sound. Well, again, this is our board discussing amongst ourselves right now. So, again, as I look at that, as the cars wrap back around there, as that queue extends closer to that fence, I can tell you that concrete wall does make a difference. I've looked at numerous properties, behind different businesses, bars that have dumpsters. Any business that generates noise, whether it be dumpsters, whether it be from vehicles, that does make a difference. And that is what the UDC states. And again, we're not comparing it to any other property, any other situation. This is based on the merits of this specific applicant, specific property, specific business right now. So as a board right now, gentlemen, it's up to us to make again, that decision. Do we vote on this? Do we table it? Is there a motion that somebody's prepared to make currently?
Yeah, this is Ricardo. I think we just need to move forward with this. As far as the variance goes, I would motion for denial.
And I will second that, but if you would like to state, Ricardo, your motion in full, which you'll find on page 10.
I'll support that, and I'll make the motion. I move to deny the variance find that it does not meet the required finding. Specifically, the subject property is not extraordinary, as there is no physical condition of the property that prevents the construction of a wall. Granting the variance may cause a detriment to surrounding properties, as it would limit the amount of noise protection to adjacent single-family townhouse residences. While there's no defined need for the requested variance, multiple uses throughout the city have installed the wall based on the requirements of the zoning district buffer yard. The request is a result of a self-created hardship, as the applicant chose to construct an automated tunnel car wash on this specific site. And number 5, the granting of this variance is contrary to the Plan CC and the Unified Development Code. Plan CC specifically states, within the goals and strategies of urban design, to quote, encourage the design of commercial centers in a manner that minimizes the impact of automobile intrusion, noise, and sight and visual blight on surrounding areas, close quote.
I'm Burris McCree. I second the motion.
Okay, we have
Have
a motion.
Second, do we have any
by Mr.
discussion
Walker?
among the board members?
No, this is Gordon Robinson. Just a quick discussion point is, I would assume that the applicant would have known the UDC ahead of time during the beginning of the process that a wall would be required. So I agree with the denial as well.
Okay,
Okay, so we have a motion in place by Mr. Walker, seconded by Mr. McCree. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, none opposed, unanimous passage of the denial, ZBA 0421-01. And Mr. Walker, I believe you are the de facto chair on this, so I'll let you proceed.
Yeah. We'll go to the director's report. Do we have a director's report today?
Nina Nixon Mendez, Assistant Director. There's no director's report this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Future agenda items, I'm not sure what that means. Andrew, do we have any future agenda items?
None from staff, sir.
Thank you very much.
So how come the car wash on Staples didn't need one a year ago?
We'll move for adjournment. Anybody want to make a motion for adjournment?
Graves, move to adjourn.
I second.
Second that.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.